We will begin our program with a presentation of the colors by the Army Junior ROTC cadets from Ogden High School. Would the audience please rise?
Color guard, attention! Forward, march!
Would the audience please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms! Forward, march!
The audience may please be seated. My name is Stacy Briggs, and I've started to introduce myself to people as the proud principal of Ogden High School. And I'm very, very excited to welcome you here tonight to our open house to celebrate the end of a fairly arduous reconstruction project of this beautiful facility. We would like to recognize a few people tonight, and we're going to do it in a pretty large group. So I would like to invite all of the district personnel, school board members, current and former, project managers, everyone that was associated with Ogden School District, including the Ogden Education Foundation, to stand in their seats right now so that we can say thank you to you once again. Joining us again here tonight. We now are going to have remarks from an esteemed Ogden alum, Lieutenant Governor Greg Bell, who kicked off this project several years ago. And depending on who you ask, the time grows longer by how long you endured the pounding outside your classroom while they did the seismic retrofit. But the Lieutenant Governor was here to kick off this project, and we're very glad to welcome him back to help us close the project. Lieutenant.
Thank you very much. I wasn't on such friendly terms with another principal some years ago. I'm delighted to be here, Superintendent, Mayor, distinguished guests, and members of the public, to celebrate with you the completion and putting into service of this marvelous facility. For myself, it brings a cascade of memories. High school is not only where so much important happens in your life, but in a way it's where your life begins. Certainly your life as an adult. And it was a privilege to go to Ogden High School for me, for each of my siblings and my parents. We had that in common, and we still do as part of our life experience. My father's service on the school board for 20 years also made me aware of the community and its contribution. one has to acknowledge Rob and Alan Hall for all they have done, Janice Foss and their whole cast of supporting characters, the unbelievable generosity of this community from $1 to $1 million. People have been so generous in this difficult economic hour. How would you like to raise $9 million at the depth of the Great Recession? In an incredible challenge, and these terrific people have shouldered that among their many other responsibilities, and we can't thank them enough, both the workers and the board and the generous donors. The students who come here, though they share having a high school education and coming to Ogden High, will deal with a world that is fundamentally different than that other generations have. And it's different in quality, perhaps more than any other generation. Yes, things changed through the World War and the Depression, but there has been a fundamental shift in our world, both in the skills demanded of to make a living and make a contribution, to what companies need. I come from a meeting with our high-tech companies, of which Alan Hall is the chair. We're saying that in this time of unemployment, we have hundreds and hundreds of vacancies in these terrific technology companies that go unfilled because our children are not learning math, science, and engineering according to the demands of the marketplace. So we have a responsibility as officials and citizens and students to become educated and help our young people become aware of the wonderful careers available in science, technology, and engineering. And this will cause a wholesale shift of our orientation. Moreover, there are huge social changes. Many of the students who come here now, more than before, are economically challenged, culturally limited, and teachers have a difficult time of it and are having to use new tools, trying to introduce, use, and benefit from technology. Our students don't have as many opportunities in the culture for mixing and mingling, or at least they're self-limiting themselves to texting and staying in front of computers, and they miss the personal skills of connection. And we hear that so often from employers and leaders later in these students' lives. So they have a hard time of it, but we have given them every opportunity with a tremendous high school with wonderful faculty and with institutes of higher education that are really non-pariah. And so we all need to double down to help our superintendent and board and our teachers, because they and the students have a tremendous challenge before them. And while we celebrate this great building and the beauty and now the size and safety of it, it has really no importance unless the students who come here are able to build a foundation for adulthood and become educated so that they can sustain themselves, so that they understand what it takes to make a living, and they'll understand what living is to be made and what education they need to get in order to get one of those great jobs. So they, like you and I, can enjoy the American dream of a family, of an income, and of a contribution that will make a difference. And I know we can do that, but I know it will take a lot more effort than it has in the past. So I wish you all, well, I give you my gratitude for your involvement and your generosity, and I also hope you will accept this challenge with me, that we will lift those who come through this great institution to have the same opportunities afforded them as were given us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. We're now going to watch a brief video clip to remind us about some of the phases of the construction process.
Campaign to preserve the state's first $1 million high school.
It's an architectural treasure. It anchors the city of Ogden. It's the most beautiful building in the state. It's one of the most beautiful schools in the country.
Ogden High School is a piece of history, literally. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, what the community here calls a gem of Ogden. A lot of alumni are very passionate about this building. It's over 70 years old.
It was bright and shiny, and we were so proud of this school.
Every community needs an icon, and it's for this great city is Ogden High School. You can see it just about from anywhere in the valley. It shines at night, right? So it's a great place to have in the community.
There aren't many buildings that are perfect. And there aren't many buildings that are more than they have to be. And Ogden High is both. The district had a really clear idea of what had to happen. What had to happen is that if Ogden High were going to be restored, it had to function the same as a new high school.
This was going to be a really tremendous effort on behalf of the entire team, not just the design team, but the contracting team, as well as the district.
So first is it had to meet a certain set of specs. It was built to 70-year-old specifications. The second rule is you have to respect the historic fabric. And that means you have to comply with historic preservation. Seismic 70 years ago, no one knew about that. How do you do that if you're not going to ruin this wonderful interior space? You bore holes down from the roof, along the side walls, drill rig on the top of the roof, going down through the walls, deep into the ground, evenly spaced, and then concrete and rebar going into these holes. Now you have seismic safety. You know, there are little details everywhere. On a nondescript exterior door on the west side, there's all this wonderful Art Deco stuff around it. And above every single classroom, you have this Art Deco scrollwork, the chandeliers in the theater. How on earth did a high school get something that wonderful?
One of the re-roofing processes was re-roofing over the auditorium. And obviously in the auditorium there's ornate plaster, and we needed to protect that plaster.
And we strategically took the time to only pull the roof off when we felt that there was not a rainstorm coming through. And interesting enough, when we had the roof off over the auditorium, there were several storms that rolled into the area, and they rolled around Ogden High, luckily. So
that whole process was extremely threatening to the building. It was 24 hours a day. We had the crews in, we brought lights in at night. That was an intense emotional time. It was a huge success. We would bring the community through with tours, and there were some times in there that people shed a tear and got really emotional with just touching and feeling and being in a place that they've never been able to get before, and that's in the upper part of the auditorium.
Some people say it's the most beautiful school auditorium in the country.
You know, there are some things you cannot put a price tag on, and that was one of them. The auditorium in this facility could never be replicated.
The lead decorative painter on the job could not believe what he found high on the wall, near the ceiling.
When he spotted these 5 signatures in the rosette focal point near the ceiling, that he really got excited. The 5 men were from Northern Europe, brought to America to work on Elias temples. The only craftsmen of their kind, Chuck says. When those men were in their 70s, Chuck tracked them down to learn their trade and bought their tools.
I'm sure that they used this particular brush on this job to do the gold leafing.
Chuck says he's using the same techniques and equipment those men used in the 1930s.
History is repeating itself.
We see the workers lying on their backs, working out there in the Sistine Chapel. It is as magnificent as that.
The signatures have all been sealed with varnish, a reminder of the past.
Many of the foundations in Utah really had the birthplace in Ogden. And any number of those, I think, recognize that there was still that common thread that tied them to a community. And as an icon of that community, those heartstrings would apply directly to the Ogden High School. And they made a presentation relative to the cost involved. The school, beautiful as it was, and with all of the memories and associations, it was run down, and there was need for the technology updates and seismic concerns and any number of things. And I can remember them giving a breakdown on what the cost would be. One of them included tearing it down because it would be cheaper to rebuild anew than to refurnish or rebuild it again. And I remember when it was all over, Rich Brewer stood up and said, "Now, you were just kidding about tearing it down, weren't you?" I think there was a feeling manifest right then that there were a lot of people who would really have the ability, perhaps, to assist in the funding. I would say on behalf of all of those donors who have contributed so generously, some a lot and some maybe a less amount, but collectively, for the opportunity and the desire to participate in that tremendous fund drive. I think the idea of associating one's actions was something that's going to be permanent. That we could come together unitedly in preserving something that was as important as Ogden High School. It was the unity of this community in both the building and the preservation of it that I think really should be a source of pride and accomplishment.
The district and the school board totally stepped up. I'm proud of the district for putting it together. It's quite a gift that this generation is making to the next 2 or 3.
This has been just a privilege for me to have worked on this building that I have known since I was a child. The commitment by the foundation and the community to really providing those resources in a pretty remarkable way, I think really made it more imperative that this project be complete.
Thousands of people they love Ogden High, you know, it's their pride and joy.
So I would really like
It wasn't really our intention to cut off ex-superintendent Zabriskie, but we'll hear from him another time. At this moment, we want to say thank you by inviting to the stage the members of the design team that were able to join us here tonight. These are the architects, the designers, the people that figured out how to make this project happen. So if any of them are here, would you please come up to the stage? of our student body officers are here tonight with a small token in memory of the work that they've done on preserving historic Ogden High School. And they have a small pin, a commemorative pin to present to them. We're delighted to be the recipients of their talent, their education, and their wisdom as they brought this project to fruition. Thank you so much. We'd now like to invite the representatives of the contractors, the people who take those ideas, that vision, that wisdom, and translate it into actual bricks and mortar. And we'd like to invite Hughes Construction representatives to the stage. And also, if there are any subcontractors that made it here tonight, we'd also like to invite you. Come on up. And while the student body officers are giving them their our tiny token, we want to say a second thank you on behalf of all the students and the faculty to our contractors. They worked really hard and they took care of us. They took care of the kids and they took care of the teachers. All while they were trying to handle their jobs, they conducted themselves as great examples of craftsmen. We have a great deal of gratitude to them. Thank you. We'd now like to turn the time over to Superintendent Brad Smith.
It was my great good fortune to be here tonight as a superintendent. When this project started, that was in no sense in the cards, and I think we owe a great debt of gratitude to the vision and foresight of our prior two superintendents who made this project possible. That's Superintendent Kathy Ortega and Superintendent Noel Zabriskie. We also owe some credit, I think, to members of the school board, present and past, who had the vision to see this project through to fruition. We've had last year a celebration of the members of the foundation and those that contributed to the foundation, that contributed to the completion of this auditorium. That is an enormous feat. They raised over $10 million, and it made it possible to complete this auditorium along with the remainder of the school. We've also had an opportunity to thank this evening those that participated as design experts, as architects, engineers, craftsmen, and subcontractors and contractors, and certainly credit is due to all of those. But as I think about the honors that have been given to folks who have completed work on this school, there is at least one group of people who have not been mentioned that I think we owe some deference to. There's a restaurant in Salt Lake that I love to go to. You can see I go to restaurants frequently, so I have some expertise. And it's called the Five Alls, A-L-L-S. And inside the restaurant there are 5 pictures. And one is the picture of the priest, and it says, "I pray for all." Another's a picture of a soldier that says, "I fight for all." Another's a picture of a farmer that says, "I feed all." Another's the picture of the king that says, "I rule all." And the last is a picture of the taxpayer, and it says, "I pay for all." The foundation really, as Lieutenant Governor Bell indicated, raised in excess of $9 million at the height of the Great Recession. And that is a great bookend, given that this school was the first $1 million school completed in the height of the Great Depression. But that's only part of the story. An additional $52 million was contributed by the taxpayers of this city and this county and this state. And I believe it's appropriate and important that we all honor those who pay the taxes that made this possible. We have a great gem of a building. We have a singular building. As we have folks that visit us from out of state, they're astonished at the beauty and the dedication of the community to this building. And now we have a great task before us. And it is to make the education that is offered in this building equal to its architectural grandeur. As we look at the Art Deco facade and we see the flutes reaching heavenward, we can look at the decorations in this auditorium that speak to progression, that speak to intelligence, that speak to the ability of the human spirit to grow. We have a challenge in our district. We have 12,455 students, my students. And I come from a world where I was an advocate. And I'm pleased to advocate for my children. I'm pleased they can come to a building like this, where we can remind ourselves that these students, all 12,000 of them, can fly. Thank you for those that worked in the restoration of this building to remind us of that. Thank you very much.
We'd now like to hear from Ken Crawford, part of our district staff who has shepherded this project. He's been digging through some boxes and I think he found something important.
Being a social studies teacher, I was thrilled to take over the construction of this majestic Ogden High School when Gary Reed retired. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I'm very humbled to oversee the completion of this project, and I'm grateful that it is completed now. I too want to thank the wonderful construction team and design team and the district personnel and staff, our project managers. We couldn't have done it without you. I would like to leave Principal Briggs with a little piece of Ogden High history that I found in the district archives. As I was going through the catacombs of one of our elementary schools, I came across this box. And inside the box, as you can see on the screen, is the trowel that was used during the original cornerstone laying ceremony held in September of 1936. I would like to present this to Principal Briggs to be held in the archives here at this school.
Thank you very much. Our plan is to have this on display in the library. We are now going to hear from the Ogden High Chamber Choir. They have a small gift for the alumni who will recognize what they're going to sing for us tonight. And then I have some closing remarks and we will be finished for the evening. I'd like to thank everyone who participated. Sorry, I was doing okay until the alumni started to stand up during the school hymn. I'd like to thank everyone who participated in making this moment happen. And it's a privilege for me to be a part of it. I am thrilled that I get to do this for my job. My closing remarks are to tell you what we are doing as faculty, as students, as staff at Ogden High with this stewardship. We know that sometimes our students struggle. As a person I admire very much, who was talking about at-risk kids, said every teenager is an at-risk kid. We want high school to be the springboard to success in life for all of our students. We are working very hard to improve our academic rigor in Ogden High School. We are working hard on attendance. We are grateful for every family that is making sure their students come to school every day. And our attendance rates have increased from 88% to 94%. Every 0.1% on an attendance rate that we improve is a hard-fought battle for a family, for a student, for a teacher, and we're grateful for the efforts that our families are making. Our test scores are improving. We have become the home of the newest International Baccalaureate program in the state of Utah, which is a rigorous pre-university preparation program. We have many other things like advanced placement classes, career and college preparation, tech ed, and the last thing that I'd like to share with you is that Ogden, in the city of Ogden, we've struggled with students graduating from high school. And I'm very, very proud to report to you that last year, out of about 181 high schools, Ogden High was in the top 25 for graduation rates in the state. We're working hard to get results so that our students and their families can be successful in life. We're grateful for this beautiful facility, and we believe that by combining these two things together, we can continue the great things that Ogden High has given to the past students, to the present students, and also to the future students. Thank you very much, and good night.